Okay, so after an episode with Big Mac willingly speaking extensively, it seems this show decided to give us something we thought we were even less likely to get. The story of Diamond Tiara's redemption. Well, from a critic first and a fan second, here's the second opinion. Yes, after fans complaining that Diamond Tiara is unlikable even as a villain, the show has finally filled in her backstory as a way to make her more sympathetic, showing us her snooty, judgmental mother, and how she's expected to be tough as a diamond. Shame on them. This is one of those times where the fans didn't know what they wanted, and for the past 4 seasons, the writers knew it. How do I know? Well, notice the pattern of her episodes as the team refused to change her. They range almost entirely from passable to absolutely beloved by fans, and in the 1 or 2 that many fans rejected, she wasn't what they were complaining about. And meanwhile, the episode where she was possibly the most despicable of all, attacking Scootaloo for her handicap and making her desperately insecure about it, is a fan favorite. Because Scootaloo and those supporting her go through a touching little arc that leads to her confronting that insecurity once and for all and rising above it, even though she still wants to fly. And that wouldn't have happened or been nearly as touching if Diamond Tiara hadn't created such a devastating challenge in the first place, attacking that insecurity as only she can. In a nutshell, yes, everyone good or bad has a reason for what they do, but when you are confronted by someone making your life legitimately difficult, you don't wish you knew their backstory so you could feel sorry for them. You wish you could drop them on their head. Or in less petty terms, you wish you knew what to do to rise above this, to make sure you never have to be hurt like this again, to stop them from being a problem. True, you can also have villains that are entertaining and bad, but admit it. Even though villains like that can also do a great job of serving certain purposes, you don't get mad at them the same way. They don't cut you quite so deep. Trixie, the Flim Flam brothers, the Dazzlings, they're characters you hate to love. Diamond Tiara is a character that you love to hate. But, while compare and contrast is fine, you never just review the episode that you should be getting. You always have to consider what's in front of you on its own terms. So, can this episode tell a story that makes me fall for Diamond Tiara?
Back to the business of earning our cutie marks. Any suggestions? No, we've run out of ideas. We've been searching for cutie marks for a while now. 'Cause the cutie mark Crusaders don't give in.
Okay, so we start out with a song just randomly glorifying the Crusaders doing what they always do. Somehow that feels like a sign of what kind of episode this is. An amateurish one.
I'm running for student pony president. I was hoping you 3 would be my campaign managers. You've never tried getting our cutie marks and campaign managing. Don't be afraid to do what's right. He's it. Vote for Pip.
That didn't really rhyme.
I'll make things happen that none of you here can afford to do, like ever. And voting for me is the price. Her mother, spoiled rich, is president of the school board.
Okay, so now they're gonna help Pipsqueak win the election from Diamond Tiara despite her blackmailing and bribing. Well, granted, that's a story we've heard 100 times before.
Show them all you feel. I don't recall asking you to speak. Well, if that's how you treat your best friend, then I choose Pipsqueak. The student pony president is Pipsqueak.
Except for the part where they just skip Diamond Tiara gaining the upper hand for stupid reasons and cut right to her losing. Well, I like that.
1 vote. Silver Spoon. You didn't vote for me? No, I didn't. But you're my best friend. Am I? Sorry, I'm not allowed to speak. I don't have to follow her drama anymore.
And that feels pretty significant.
We should probably make sure she's okay. Just because she's never cared about any pony else's feelings doesn't mean we shouldn't care about hers.
And that seems like a nice example of how the Crusaders have grown over time.
Diamond Tiara!
Let me guess, her mother's a high society snob who gives her money and high expectations, but not love and support.
It's bad enough you lost to that transplant from Trottingham. But imagine if you lost to one of those blank flanks. As a rich pony, you must always think of your social standing. Don't ever forget that, Diamond Tiara. Ever!
Okay, but as generic and sympathy baiting as that is, it could still work. I mean, it's still got something going for it.
If I'm a diamond, then why do I feel so rough? I'm as strong as a stone, even that's not enough. There's something jagged in me, yet I can't see what I
Yeah, see, that really does make me feel for her. It's a really gentle moment of self-reflection.
I've been told my whole life what to do, what to say. No pony showed me that there might be some better way.
And now it's starting to seem a bit on the nose.
And now I feel like I'm lost, I don't know what to do. The ground is sinking away. I've always wished I could be some pony else.
And now I'm starting to hear those old comments crying, I can't relate to her at all! She's just one-dimensionally mean! Even though this is exactly how spoiled kids act, which we know that she is. They should show us her backstory so we'll know why she's like this. By which I mean make it really sympathetic and heartbreaking so she's no longer the only recurring character not conforming to that feel-good message on how it's possible to bring out the good in everyone and just have things be nice all around.
We wanted to invite you to our clubhouse to hang out.
Really? Yeah, well, thanks to you all, I don't have any important class president business to attend to or anything. So I might as well.
Okay, now it seems like we're headed in the right direction.
You three are really lucky. You get to explore all these options, learning who you really are before you're stuck with something you don't understand.
Except now you're having her say things totally at random and out of the blue in ways that don't even feel like the same character, just to make sure we sympathize with her. I mean, there's potential for a really effective story here, but not if you just drown it in syrup.
I'm not struggling at all to figure out who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to be doing with this mark.
We kind of overheard you yesterday.
Were you trying to get your cutie mark in spying?
No, we were just worried about you when you lost the election, and then you lost your friend, and then your mom yelled at you.
Okay, getting your footing. She relies on her superior act like she always does, but the Crusaders pull her out of her shell bit by bit. You do have the right idea there. So, now how about having them slowly bond over this and that, despite some rough spots, until she realizes that she really does like having them around?
I was at the school board meeting, and they didn't approve my request for the new playground equipment. Don't worry, Pip.
We'll meet you back at school.
And help you find a solution.
Oh, I already have a solution. Our new student pony president is going to be kicked out of office and I'll be reinstated. Where's she going? Where do you think? Come on.
Or just cut to the big will she or won't she climax and use because it's dramatic as the reason that she won't. Yeah, same thing.
Diamond Tiara.
Ah, but the Crusaders still have time to sing her a song on the way there, so we could still pull this off. So, yeah, let's sing her something powerful, something that really hits hard, you know, not just a bunch of feel-good cliches, like, we know you're better than this.
We know you're better than this.
Or yeah, you know, like, this is not the answer, you can redeem yourself!
This is not the answer. Listen! You can redeem yourself.
And granted, we already know that Diamond Tiara is a tortured soul whose parents just don't understand what they have pushed her to become. But surely this scene can add a couple introspective lines from her that really make us feel for her in this moment, instead of, you know, just hitting us over the head with the same thing as before.
What my family would think if I ever fell at anything. I'm a diamond, that means you never break. Whatever I have to do to win in the end.
But for the big knockout punch, the Crusaders could let her know that they know what she wants.
We know you want friends who admire you. You wanna be the star with all the power too.
And they know there's potential in her that they haven't even seen yet.
There's so much more still left to learn about yourself. See the light that shines in you.
So they can say for absolute certain that there is a better way, because
You can stop right now and try another start.
because there's literally a better way, worse way fork in the road, and for no other clear reason. Yes, truly this is one of the show's most thoughtful, hard-hitting bits of character growth, right up there with its very best moments of insight. I mean, Twilight learning from failure after failure that you can't always do your friends proud, but that doesn't mean that you don't have anything to offer in your element. Luna learning that sometimes it's better not to take your image too seriously and roll with the punches after trying it and finding it less confrontational and more uniting than actively fighting them. Rainbow learning that her trouble focusing doesn't mean she's stupid after careful observation of how she thinks and applies as opposed to everyone else. Big Mac finally finding his voice after trying to be someone else entirely in the same way that shy actors can come out of their shells in their roles. And Diamond Tiara learning that she's better than this and there's a better way, from the Crusaders saying to her that she's better than this and there's a better way. I mean, why wouldn't that work? They spent like one collective minute tentatively trying to befriend her. I guess she literally just needed a friend.
And that's why friendship is the best thing ever.
This is what I see when we adjourn. My daughter associating with confused, insignificant lowlifes. Come, Diamond Tiara.
No, Mother! You've spent your life acting like a high horse and raised me to follow in your hoofprints. I finally realized I wanted something you don't have. Friends!
I want to like it, I really do, but it's just too fake.
Step away from those blank flanks.
These are the Cutie Mark Crusaders, and they are my friends. They are working harder to get their cutie marks than any pony I've ever seen. Now, will you please deliver this to Father?
Yes, of course, dear.
Okay, this lady is a bad parent. She teaches her daughter to be condescending and confrontational, she offers no moral support, and she seems to know nothing of work ethics. So I want you all to know just what I mean when I say that giving into Diamond Tiara the way she did there is every bit as bad. There was no real opposition from her. No discussion, no mutual understanding reached, she just wilted, complied, and ran. It's bad to give kids faulty boundaries, but it's also bad to teach them that they can just break boundaries, right or wrong, without being prepared for consequences. Take it from a guy who's seen enough kids thinking they can shut down their parents just by being self-righteous enough. You should not be your own parent in your early teenage years.
Obviously, I've known since I got my cutie mark that my talent is getting other ponies to do what I want. I just asked my father if he could donate the money for the new playground equipment. My cutie mark has set me free and be the pony I wanna be.
Okay, so clearly this was just a wish fulfillment story to finally give fans their way on Diamond Tiara. I guess I'm happy for her, and I might be interested in seeing what could come from it down the line, but the episode, unfortunately, is just kinda lame and dismissible.
I've been thinking, Crusaders, we spend an awful lot of time fussing and fretting trying to discover our true talent.
Oh wait, there's more.
When we take a little time off, we end up helping other ponies figure out their true talent.
And I think that's way more important. I don't care if I ever get my cutie mark.
Want to just focus on helping others find their cutie marks?
So basically just a less intelligent version of the lesson they learned in Bloom and Gloom about taking this as it comes, or now they think it's silly to try finding their own cutie marks at all because it's only important that everybody else does. I mean, it seems like there's potential for a good lesson in there about taking a more laid-back, hands-off approach to this thing, or how being the Cutie Mark Crusaders has made them good at helping other ponies this way, but why are you suddenly making it so important to them to... No. No.
What happened? What's going on? It's your cutie marks. They're amazing.
The Cutie Mark Crusaders finally get their cutie marks in an episode where they play inane little supporting roles to Diamond Tiara? You know what the saddest thing about this is? In theory, this was a good idea for how this should happen. Scratch that, a great idea. Yeah, the Crusaders discovering their destiny by finding a way to help their arch nemesis, the one who started all of this, finally see the error of her ways and redeem herself, bringing both parties full circle. That should have been perfect. It's exactly what they needed to demonstrate how much they've grown by learning to pick each other up during the tough times. There was potential for a challenging, heartfelt episode about a strained, difficult, but slowly growing bond between Diamond Tiara and the Cutie Mark Crusaders here. But apparently the team hasn't learned from Magical Mystery Cure after all. You know why that eerily similar episode got any backlash at all, apart from the obligatory, "We don't want change"? Because all of it was too easy. In that episode, you seem to condescendingly be telling us that just being friends is enough to overcome your biggest problems, that just wanting a mushy-gushy friendship with someone is enough for anyone to figure it out and be motivated enough to make it right, as though how being friends affects you doesn't even matter. And now, instead of diving into what it really would take to get a character like this to change, and want to change, you just have the characters say a few lines designed to make us go, "Aww," and this unconvincing, tortured soul version of Diamond Tiara decides to totally change her ways. I mean, just turning the other cheek like this isn't special. It's nice, but it's not unique or particularly difficult. The Crusaders have done it before. So, same as Twilight and Magical Mystery Cure, where is the actual talent that they weren't sure they had before in that?
We all got the same cutie mark. Cutie Mark Crusaders forever.
Oh, my my mistake. If you got into the actual talent behind it, you might have trouble justifying that shortcut. Well, actually, that probably would have made it less of a shortcut, but here we are. And no, putting different symbols in the middle that have nothing to do with how they got the marks doesn't change that it's a shortcut. Somehow the main six managed to share a destiny without glossing over how their talents and purposes are unique. Actually, since all of this is along the lines of what I said about Magical Mystery Cure, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say M.A. Larson wrote this one. No. Amy Keating Rogers? What? I mean, M.A. Larson had a valid excuse with Magical Mystery Cure being taken out of his hands and butchered. What the heck happened here? I mean, you're not supposed to be all sap-headed and wish-fulfillment-y. You're supposed to be smart, nuanced, three-dimensional. I just got done saying that you should have been the one to write Slice of Life. I trusted you. I mean, I've stayed hopeful. I didn't say the show was dead in the water after Magical Mystery Cure, even though I had problems with it. I waited patiently for Season 4 to find its footing. I even stayed fairly quiet on the whole Lauren Faust debate, thinking it didn't matter much, and knowing full well that nobody wants to think we're worse off now. Just like everyone would rather get $100 today than 2 years in the past or 2 years in the future. All I ever said was that the first 2 seasons were currently my favorites, but there's no reason they couldn't be topped. Well, all those hands-off discussions ever really seem to do is get both sides to go, yeah, I'm just gonna forget you said anything. So maybe it's time to push these things a little more. Maybe this is the signal to call a spade a spade. Yes, the show was better during the Lauren Faust seasons. And yes, it was because of something they did differently back then. And you know what that something was? Never using melodrama as a shortcut. Or wish fulfillment. Not that every episode was a knockout, but when it didn't make sense for the characters to reach the perfect point, it was always okay for them not to. And they couldn't just rant about how great friendship is to get there anyway.
Oh, Sugar Cube, if Mom and Dad were here, they'd be so proud of you.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, little buddy.
No, episode. Trying to pluck my heartstrings doesn't change that either. You haven't earned it. Up to there, you basically just came across like any generic kiddie show where everyone learns to be nice and polite, and you always get what you want when you are good, and everything is just hand-diddly-dandy all the time. I mean, I've heard fan theories on how this would finally happen that were better developed and more interesting, which I'd cite if I didn't think being associated with Johnny Raincloud here would probably just hurt them. Because, in the end, yeah, everything I just said will realistically make no difference whatsoever. This episode will be cheered and praised as one of the greatest moments in the history of the show, and if anything, I'll be seen as just plain hurtful, just trying to prove how smart I am, or whatever. Should I just give up and join the parade? Love and hugs and unicorns and friendship rainbows too. Hey! Well, I'm not so good at that. But yeah, it's probably time I stopped getting so invested here. I mean, it's off my chest now, so I give up. It's going to keep happening, and it's going to be encouraged. And hey, I get it. I mean, even if this episode is sugar-flavored corn syrup doused in honey, less healthy for you than a Twinkie, it goes down so easy. Now, excuse me while I go throw up. Off day?
What do you want?
Hey, second opinion. 2 minds about everything.
Not this time. I'm a little far gone at this point.
Well, clearly you haven't given up if you're willing to go this far to point everything out. Are you just that determined to speak for the people who do agree with you, even if they're probably more removed from the fandom?
I mean, it's not just that. The episodes that really were that good should get credit for it. They went out of their way to do right what this one did wrong. Now, at best, they'll maybe be seen as equal for it, and this approach will keep being used again and again.
Well, the writers ultimately make their own decisions. I mean, what, are you mad at the fans?
Of course not. I mean, whether I'm right or wrong about all this, they shouldn't have to apologize for what they enjoy. And if they hear out the counter-argument and decide they still feel the same way after, more power to them. Even if I still think they'd like something else better.
But you still think it's a case of complacency, like a living legend who's already climbed the impossible mountain, so now everyone just wants to see them celebrate and be happy and do little repeats and follow-ups of what made them beloved in the first place.
So what if I do? It doesn't change anything.
Then why the need to be harsh?
Look, you know darn well that you were even more disappointed than I was. And really, that's your answer. Even if it is just me, or you, and a few of the show's more skeptical fans, it kinda sucks. And this is possibly the pinnacle moment for the fan base, even more than Slice of Life, the payoff to the show's longest-running arc, written by the show's best writer, complete with exactly the kind of celebration you'd want to see at the end of it, released right on the 5th anniversary of the show's premiere. We shouldn't be feeling like it just left us empty. We shouldn't be sitting it out.
Oh, everyone's a part of it. Positive, negative, it's all a part of what this episode has achieved, and where we go from here.
Maybe so, but it's hard to just accept that the most significant moment was essentially Magical Mystery Cure 2.0. It's such a letdown. And like I keep saying, it's probably going to happen again down the line.
You're not thinking of going CR, are you?
No, you don't just rage quit in the middle of something because you didn't get your way. You see it through and you try to look with fresh eyes every time. Besides, it's still better than Season 3.
I'm glad to hear that. Because speaking of Season 3, you might just remember the big moment there that you thought they botched as well, before completely redeeming it in your eyes over the course of Season 4.
True. I mean, they went heavy on the sap here and all, but who knows what they have planned for the follow-up.
And the fact that there's still enough episodes to go this season means that follow-up might just already be on its way.
And severely flawed or not, this does open up a lot of story possibilities. Still kind of a lousy note to end on for today. I mean, everyone's still gonna really hate this review.
Yes, but you're going to get up and face it like a man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I find this episode to be an absolute train wreck of all my least favorite tendencies that this show has picked up over time. All the flaws of Magical Mystery Cure, half is investing. You probably don't, and have no intention of changing your mind at this time. And hey, I could give you a big speech on how I'm just being honest or how you don't have to agree, but honestly, it would kind of feel like talking down to you if I did. In the end, that's just how this game works sometimes. We're not always supposed to have easy answers that allow us to just shake hands and walk away. So, bring me your counter-arguments and I'll read through every one of them. Though if you expect to change my mind, well, just make sure you've thought them out first. And next week could be anything. So with nothing but cautious optimism, we'll all just have to take it as it comes. If you enjoyed this, well, if you're willing to roll with me on this video, please like and subscribe. If not, feel free to send me lots of songs on how there's a better way, and if you'd like to watch a more positive video in this series, click the link on your right. Otherwise, just check the description for more links, and I'll see you next time.